Welcome to the next episode of the 6-0 Bros.
What's it say?
So, here we are in front of my mom's 2011 Ford Edge.
I thought it said something ridiculous on it.
What?
You smirked at me.
No, I didn't put anything on front of the damn sweatshirt. So anyway,
Take it. We're redoing that. No cussing in the channel.
he's such a weirdo.
What the hell did he do? Because you're laughing. Do I look weird in it?
No, but that's a new one. I forgot I had that one.
Oh.
So when you screw that one up, you owe me. You already owe me a hooded sweatshirt.
From what?
When I helped you with your truck, and I got grease on it.
I feel like I told you to take that hoodie off.
You're an idiot. You did say you'd replace it.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
I'm thinking that's our blooper footage at the end of this video.
Fair enough. Only if you can censor me, though. Because I don't want curse words in it. You ready?
Yep.
Welcome to the next episode of the 6-0 Bros. Today we're introducing a new Ford into the fleet on the channel. It's our mom's Ford Edge.
We're really excited for this.
This was supposed to be the airbags on my truck, but instead of the airbags, we get to replace a brake booster, which is a known issue on these Ford Edges, and we're just going to go ahead and replace the master cylinder while we're at it. So, enjoy. Okay, so before we get started, I do want to say one thing. I used to work on cars for extra money during college, and the reason I stopped was because of concerns about liability and such. Anytime you're working with brakes, if you don't feel like you have the skill or the understanding of it, then don't get started. This should be a pretty easy job, but at the same time, you're messing with your brakes, so I cannot emphasize that enough. We're just showing you how we're doing it. I'm not a mechanic. So, having said that, here's the intake. We're going to pull this intake.
So having thrown our credibility to the wind.
Exactly. That's what I want to do here, is throw the credibility to the wind. And if you choose to listen to us, if we can help in some way, your job, or at least getting some insight before you do it yourself, great. But having said that, we are not mechanics. We are DIYers that know how to wrench. So keep that in mind, and we're not liable for anything that happens. But we're going to start by disconnecting the battery terminals and the intake and the air filter, and removing that to give us more room for this. And the master cylinder is underneath it. This is just the reservoir tank. We'll show you a close-up once we get these parts out. Okay, so far, couldn't figure out how to get this clip off of the mass airflow sensor. I know it has something to do with this thing, but it wasn't coming out clean, nicely, and I didn't want to break it, so I just used a T20, and I removed the 2 screws to pull out the mass airflow. Next, you have the 2 metal clips down here. I don't know if you can see this, but they're my hands are getting dirty, so I don't want to touch the camera. But 2 metal clips back here, and then a flathead screwdriver to remove the top of this intake lid, or air filter lid. So we'll start there. See you soon. Just realized I forgot to tell you guys, or I told you guys that I was going to remove the battery, and I didn't, and it's on video, so in case any of you would like to correct me, I just figured I'd point that out. It's a 10 millimeter, nut on these battery cables. It's an interesting design. I don't think I've ever seen it before, but yeah, it's a good thing too, because my 11 millimeter is missing right now, and we can ask Jared where that is. So I'm gonna pull the battery out. I'll get back with you here in a minute. I'm sorry I keep cutting away here, but my cameraman is a little preoccupied while I'm taking care of dear old mother. But here's the stem, the stopper rather, that holds the battery together. It's a 5/16 that you need to pull that off. You're not getting the battery out without removing that. After you remove the battery, there's a vacuum line to pull out of this. Then we're going to get a flathead screwdriver, pull this off the throttle body. Okay, so I went ahead and I took the air box out that held the filter. That was a 5/16, and it was just a nut here and a nut here right up front. I just slipped that straight up. Had 2 pegs that were stuck in the bottom that you had to pull out. And then this is the battery dish. They went ahead and used 10mm. There's one here, and one up on the side that you have to pull out using 10mm. And that falls right out too. Alright, I wanted to give you a closer look at the master cylinder like I said I would. So this piece is the master cylinder, and I'm looking at the brake booster behind it. But to get that big sucker out, and I don't know if the lighting is going to let you see it, it's round. I don't know. Sometimes with these GoPros you just never know what it gets. We'll show you as we keep tearing it down. But there's just no way that I see it coming out without removing the cowl. So I'm going to remove the cowl. I'm going to start by removing the windshield wiper caps and unbolting them. And then it looks like bolts here and screws along this edge. The little plastic guys that we all love to pop out. And hopefully they don't break. But I'll get back to you. Oh, and there's another bolt right here. I'm assuming on the other side as well. So I'll let you know how to remove the cowl then. Okay, so far we removed the windshield wipers. That was just the plastic caps with a flathead screwdriver and a 15mm on each. Over here and on the other end, and the 2 in the middle, that's a 10mm. And then you have your Phillips head screwdriver to get the 2 on this side and the 2 plastic pieces on this side.
These are those little retaining clips?
Already went over that when you were playing house. So then let's go over to the side. This is where we had to slow it down because we got stuck for a quick minute. Push down on this, and then you can pull it out. And then you see these little clips holding that in. So that's going to be able to let us remove the first portion of this top piece. Jared, you want to set up the camera, and then we can pull this top piece out and see what's underneath it.
It's got to come down.
Does it?
Yeah, I have no...
Well, you have no movement because it's on the windshield wiper. No, you should. Okay. Okay. There's plastic clips here too. Alright, not quite as easy as we thought. We'll get back to you, show you how we did it. Okay, like I said, I apologize for the cutting in and out, but I don't want this video to be 30 minutes long. Jared is back here.
Back in the game.
So the cowl cover is removed. And if you look here, these plastic pins on either side, I just manipulated the rubber, I guess gasket, what you would call, along this edge around both of the sides, and it slipped right out. Now Jared is pulling out these bolts. 8mm, Jared?
Yes.
Okay, so I think what we have so far is one here, one here, one here,
2 here,
2 there. So we'll see if that removes the rest of the cowl. We'll get back to you.
Well, it appears Josh underestimated. It may have been both of us underestimating it. Anyway, there's an extra bolt back here that you can't quite see. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 bolts, and Surprisingly, there's no clips that hold this in that you can't see. It's two pieces. You start pulling it out. Piece one, piece two, and somehow it's actually that easy.
Now we need to look and see if we need to remove any more before we continue. We'll be back. Okay, here. So we still have this slip here, and we need real estate, so we need to pull that off. We started getting this. It's 10 millimeter. Over here on the other side of the windshield wiper, that's 8 millimeter. And all along the edge here, if you see Jared, he's getting these bolts off in the back here and so forth, all the way down there, 10 millimeter as well. And then we're gonna pull off, what is this, the computer?
ECM, I guess.
ECM. So 3 clips here. We're gonna remove these clips and see if that pulls the lower lip of the cowl off. So we'll be back with you. Say hi, Kylie.
Hi.
Okay, so we learned a couple of things here. Keeping you in the loop, YouTube. We tried to pull this whole lip out without removing this separately, but the windshield wiper motor does need to come out. So 8 millimeter on both arms, and then it looks like this. Yep, it'll just pop right out. Right out. After you remove the clip. Right out. Alright, so the reason it wouldn't come out is because of this bolt right here, which I'm guessing is 10 millimeter. We got the rest of the bolts out. The one behind the computer was a pain in the butt. We just put a pair of needle nose pliers and pried these clips off of the plugs. And then it looks like we'll have to remove this as well. Some more things clipped to it. But then after that, this lower level should just pop right out. So we'll see. Hold on. So once again, sorry about the choppiness, but we decided that we're going to try to do this video this way, and we feel like we can explain more in bursts than making you watch a bunch of time lapses. So we got our, at this point, we got the cowl out, we got the real estate we wanted. So there's 2 lines here, 2 brake lines, a clip, and then it looks like 2 bolts holding the master cylinder to the brake booster. These 2 brake lines are 15 millimeter. So we're going to take the clip off these 2 lines, and then we'll tell you what size the bolts holding the master cylinder to the brake booster are. Thanks for hanging in there. So we got the master cylinder out. This is where the 2 brake lines were coming in at. What were they?
10?
15?
I forget.
I forget, but look at our video about 10 seconds ago. You'll see. And then these 2 bolts are where it sat up against the brake booster, and they were 13 millimeter nuts. And then that's all that shaft is all that goes into the brake booster. So you might want to try to siphon out some of your brake fluid. Otherwise you're going to have to rinse it off your driveway like us. But that's where we're at so far. So we're going to take a quick 15 minutes because of the rain, and we'll get back out there to see what we need to do for this brake booster. Here we are again. This is what we see. Rain slowed up. This is what we have back here. Just the 2 bolts hanging out that hold the master cylinder. Now if you come into the car, Jared of course removed my flashlight. Here's the brake pedal. Looks like there's a blue clip there. I'm going to try to take that clip off. And there's the 4 bolts that I believe are holding the brake booster in. I'm trying to get you the best footage I can. Sorry about the lighting. We do want to pull this all apart tonight. Then we'll put it back together in the morning. So that's where we're at now. I'll get back to you if there's anything I feel I missed. Oh, well, you see that rod from the brake booster that goes to the pedal. That baby blue, looks like some sort of retaining pin. That'll probably need to be removed too. So, I'll let you know.
Okay, I don't know how great this is showing up on camera here, but this is inside the car on the driver's side. There's two 10mm bolts under this panel that sits beneath the steering wheel. You need to take that off, and then there's a bunch of these little clips here you just pull straight out of. Over here though, there's, I don't even know what this is, but it's a tube that clips in here. You just push in the sides of it and pull it straight out.
Yeah. Alright, so we're at the brake pedal inside the car, and this looked like it was holding the brake pedal to the brake booster rod. So what I did was I took a pair of needle nose pliers on one side of the brake pedal and squeezed these two thingy-majigs together while I pried on this with a little pick on the other side of the brake pedal, and it slipped right out. And then I also depressed the white clip from, I'm guessing that turns the brake lights on. So I pulled the white clip out. Not quite sure what's holding in that brake booster other than those four 10mm bolts. They're not 10mm bolts. Forget that. I'll tell you what size the bolts are, but I believe it's just those four, and hopefully we can slip that brake booster out. So I'll get back to you.
Okay guys, excuse me. Alright guys, excuse me if it's a little rocky of a view here. It's an odd angle. So clearly here your brake pedal is, and if you come up here, let's see if I can get a good view of this. Okay. So, do my best here. These bolts, well, there were bolts there. Josh is currently removing the brake booster. So there's two here and two on the other side, and that's what hold the brake booster in. There's these two other ones up top there we started to loosen, but it doesn't appear that we needed to do that at all. So anyway, you can kind of see, well, I don't know if you heard him right there, but you can kind of see Josh taking out the brake booster here. So I'm gonna come out, try to get a little footage of that too. Okay guys, we're back here. I don't know if you can, how much of this is coming out, but...
Oh, wonderful. You want them to watch us struggle. Or me struggle. And see, have them watch you loosen those bolts in there.
Well, if it's not on camera, clearly it didn't happen, so...
Like me pulling a camper and your truck out of the mud?
Never happened. Anyway, so as you guys see here, it is definitely a tight fit here.
I don't know if it's coming out like this. We might need to pull something else off. Not sure what.
So, anyway, we'll get back to you in a little bit, guys. Thank you.